Hey guys, Joe Madden here with WagerTalk. Today we're going to be talking three top NFL and college betting tips with Tony Finn and Dwayne Bryant, the top profitable handicappers at WagerTalk in the NFL and college football betting. So let's get to it, guys. Dwayne, what is your top tip for betting college football?
Oh, I didn't really rank them, but the first tip that I have here is that for the average bettor, there's just so many college football teams, and it's hard to stay up on all of them. So I recommend focusing on two to three conferences and get to know those teams. And while you're at it, follow the local beat writers for those teams. If you do a search for the school name and then local football beat writer, you can usually find them. And a lot of times they have some useful information that's not widely known.
So, Tony, what is your top tip for betting NFL?
Let's go. Let's work backwards. How about that? Top tip is emotion. If you have a favorite team and you're unable to bet against your favorite team, then you're not allowed to bet on your favorite team. Their emotion is huge, not only on the football field for the players, coaches, the fans surrounding, but for the investor, for the gamer, for the bettor, and your heart will direct you, or at least take you down a path that's probably not the high road. And it's as difficult as for me, even after 30 years. Sometimes my favorite line when someone asks me who my favorite team is the team I have money on, and that changes sometimes every 15 minutes if I'm in a live betting parlor or online with a live betting app. So, first tip: take emotion out of your investing if you can. If you can't, not if you can't bet against your favorite team, don't bet on it.
Definitely great tip there, Tony. So, Dwayne, let's move back to you. Your second favorite tip in betting college football.
Well, going into the season, a lot of people get caught up in looking at how many returning starters there are. I recommend looking at the returning production instead. The number of players isn't as relevant as the number of production that's coming back. So, for example, you might have 10 returning starters on offense, but if the one you're missing is an all conference quarterback, and you have an unproven commodity coming in this year behind him, your offense is likely to slip. And the same thing can be said on the defensive side of the ball. You might have 9 returning starters, but if the two you're missing is your top pass rusher and all conference pass rusher and your leading tackler from last year, your defense could slip a little as well. So instead of looking at the number of returning starters, just look at the production that's coming back.
Definitely an excellent tip there, Dwayne. Tony, let's go to you for your second tip in betting NFL
Great,
football.
great tip, Dwayne. Nothing like returning all 22 starters for a team that's been 0-11 for 3 straight years. You got 22. It's a great tip.
If it ain't broke, right?
Yeah, yeah. If I'm going to group, my second tip is going to be a group: injuries, weather, form, and much what Dwayne just covered. And that's statistics. You want to learn to assess statistics and strength of schedule and value of a team, offense versus defense, and matchups. In truth, both Dwayne and I could probably give you 100 tips. And the more comfortable you get with assessing teams, or developing or using someone's formula to put a power ranking, put a ranking on a team when the two meet, and then somehow morphing that, or at least transferring that over to a point spread, then the more successful you're going to be. Injuries, weather, form, team statistics, whether it be returning starters or returning production, or in my case for the NFL, free agents, and are the draft picks, are they NFL ready? So once again, injuries probably most important, weather critical, November and December, form, and some form, all forms of statistics.
Definitely great things to look at, Tony. Dwayne, let's bring this back to you for your final tip in betting college football.
Well, my style in football, and it goes with the NFL as well, is I'm a situational handicapper. So two of my favorite things to look for in college football also is number one, motivation. No team plays their best game every week. No team comes with the highest of motivation every week. So I like to look at the schedule and find spots where that motivation is going to be lacking. One example is you have a top conference team that's coming off a huge conference win and they have another huge conference game on deck. But the team they're playing this week is either a bottom tier conference or a non-conference inferior opponent. And they might not have the same motivation and be able to get up for that game. So you can find some value on the underdog there. The other thing I like to look for is what I call misleading scoreboards. And that's when the final score and the box score don't seem to add up. One example of that is, say, Team A outgained Team B by 150 yards, but they lost the game because they were -3 in turnovers. So that team that won the game is probably going to be overvalued the next week. The team that lost that game is oftentimes undervalued the following week, and you can find some good value plays in that scenario.
Definitely great things to look at there, Dwayne. Thank you. And Tony, your final tip of the day.
We're going to go to essentially metrics, and that is, finding a formula, finding out what is going to help you distinguish between the good, the bad, and the ugly on a football field, the NFL field. It's different in college a little bit to the NFL. You have less teams. They see each other more typically, sometimes twice a year. A lot of teams, divisional teams in the NFL, see each other twice a year. And I think it's important that that you take your mistakes and you learn from them, and you take your successes and you learn from them. Eventually, the goal here is to become so comfortable that you've developed your own system, be it quarterback pressures, be it defensive lines against the offensive lines, be it against a team that runs the ball really well, against a defense that can't stop the run. You'll find there's a lot of complex logistics, and there's learned methodology that come with becoming a good handicapper. And at some point in time, it's something you're going to have to learn from, whether it be the methodology, the logistics, or maybe just a handicapper like Dwayne Bryant that you can trust, and he can lead you in the right direction. His tip on a game and his analysis may give you the information that you needed to be successful. So my final tip, metrics. Figure out a way to make them work for you, what's best for you, learn from your mistakes and from your successes.
Well, you guys, I want to thank both of you for sharing all of your expertise with us today. You guys, make sure you go over to WagerTalk.com. There's a great special running right now. You're going to get 4 weeks of Tony Finn's NFL package, as well as 5 weeks of Dwayne's college football picks, all for $239. That is a fantastic savings, you guys, of originally $413.